Azurus. Alrighty, so today I submit to you a build I came up with from last league, which I've also retrofitted for the new Path of Exile tree. Before the patch, it kind of looks like this. So, the basic idea for most builds in Path of Exile, if you're a little new to the game, is essentially the idea is you want to try and make the most efficient map build you can. Now, also, I am using the MTXs from the new supporter pack. Let me just clear out the inventory here. This is standard, by the way. I'm going to skip until I'm ready to do the map here, just to show you what this guy looks like and the sort of gameplay. I've also been experimenting with some of the tools for the build here. So, if I've done the audio correctly, it should play in sync. So, the basic idea is it's an inquisitor and it does massive ranged melee damage. Ooh. Shit. I'm also playing this on Steam Deck. I've been tooling around a little bit. it doesn't freeze up as bad now. Shit. Also, I would recommend a molten slam. I lost mine because I tried to do the crafting recipe for 20 quality, forgetting that ball skills aren't compatible with it. So you pretty much have to level 1 up to level 20. And then quality it. And then corrupt it. Well, I guess I can skip corrupting it. The main reason why you want to do it that way is resale value. But it has, this build has quite a bit of sort of pretty much everything in this build is... What in the fuck are you? Exploding. Yeah, the main weakness with this build is moving. Because a lot of your regeneration and defenses are actually highly dependent on... I'm just going to try to throw a ball totem on it. Alright, that map's cooked. But like I was saying, it's pretty good if it doesn't get one shot. And I will leave a link to the retro-fitted tree in the bottom, and after I show off sort of the tricks of this, by the way, this is what I call a one-trick pony build. It does one thing really good and everything else is just there to support the pony.
spent.
Yeah, this build has a small handful of weaknesses here and there, like huge amounts of dot, but preferably, since it's a ranged melee, you don't want to be in close melee, but I do have things that help mitigate that. But in the new patch, some of these won't be an option anymore. This build is using a staff setup.
I must have time to gather my will.
And I have not heard any hoopla about stabs, but a while ago they buffed them pretty good. And they're the strong, so far from what I've seen, it's one of the stronger crit melee builds. And it really goes with this armor set pretty well. There we go. Memory serves correct, this is the Hellfire armor set. I'm also a little rusty. I haven't played this guy since the 75% mark on the league timeout. I just decided to pull this guy out just to show you. He's one of the first builds I'm actually a little bit proud of. But he's a little squishy. He's actually pretty damn tanky for a glass cannon. But it's just those random one-shots that get you. And rapid dumps. like any of that going in there. So we sent the totem in. Oddly enough, he's really good at killing bosses. It's just the random RNG nonsense.
My mana is spent.
I will say this is not one of the fastest builds I've built. A lot of mine are more slow, tanky, and get killed the thing. Essentially, outlasting your enemy is one of the goals, but the other goal is to kill the enemy before it kills you.
Must have time to gather my will.
Alright, the auras are... This is pretty much the gear here. Infernal Cry. Herald of Ash. Anger. And Procession. Wave of Conviction. Hex Touch. Hex Bloom. Punishment. Replica Lore Weave. Increased global critical strike chance. %40 increased elemental damage. Your maximum resistances are 70. And the amulet is your suffering chestplate, replica lore weave. And that's pretty much the only 2 uniques in this build. The attack is Ignite Peripulation, Pulverize, Increased Critical Damage Support, Awakened Elemental Damage with Attack Support, Volcanic Fissure, and Increased Critical Strikes. And before I show you the retrofitted tree, I just want to explain these 2 master passives were are the best combo in the game as of this moment before the Forge League. Defend with 120% of your armor while not on low energy shield. This pretty much makes it so that as long as you do not have low energy shield, you have a second life bar. And increases and reductions to armor also apply to energy shield, right at 20% of their value, combined with magic shield. Cannot recover energy shield to above armor value, 3% physical damage prevented from hits, recently is regen as energy shield per second. Now those are pretty solid defense-wise. Just by themselves. And that's probably why it got nerfed. I probably would pull that out there. For tree jewels, just find one that suits your fancy. I have the cremator because it's 30% increased fire damage, and it has the added bonus of cremating all of your corpses from your enemies as long as they're ignited. Now, this is an Avatar of Fire build, but with the Fire Mastery passive and this little wheel here, makes it so that 40%, so essentially with Avatar of Fire, it cuts all of your, and it converts all your damage into fire, but then it cuts anything that wasn't fire damage in half. And you can only deal fire damage. Which is actually pretty good. With that, you have 90% of your physical damage converted into fire. And that's not discounting the bit here where you gain 10% physical damage as extra fire damage right here, and the other 8% in the tree here. Nope, just the 4 here. So that's 14. And for the damage calculations, conversions are actually done close to last. And anything that manipulates the damage values of that thing it's been converted into then takes place. It's a little bit of pretty much Path of Exile's a living algorithm. Now, the main mastery nodes we have here are before they changed all of them. Recover 2% of life and energy shield when you block while wielding a staff. Increase defenses while holding a staff, and plus block. By the way, since we're doing a Avatar of Fire, chaos damage will actually add 0. So, if you're going to go Avatar of Fire with this build, like I did, don't get Unholy Might. And for those of you who don't know, Unholy Might, it's pretty much a conversion. You gain, no, not conversion, you just gain 30% of your physical damage as extra chaos damage. But Avatar of Fire does not convert chaos into fire. It is removed from damage calculation altogether. So no matter how many of that you get, how many chaos damages you have in the tree, alligator or otherwise, it will be 0. Mind over matter. Also, if you have the points to spend and currency, pretty much any tree jewel will do with just random shit that could fit for your build. Mana Masteries is 10% of damage recouped as mana. This is a mind over matter. With that pretty much turns the cost of mind over matter down to 30%. Well, it's still 40%, but it costs 30% instead. Mind over matter, that it takes 40% of the damage from your life and moves it over to mana instead. For life masteries before, regenerate 2% of life while moving. I'll and the ascendancies for Templar really haven't changed. So, Sanctuary, Pious Path, this grants you consecrated ground, and it just gives you just free regen for standing still. And then we have Righteous Prevadoins. 1% increased critical strike chance per point of strength or intelligence. Which of the two is lower? And it gives you plus 50 to intelligence and strength. But this is where it's really good. Critical strikes ignore monsters' elemental resistances. Non-critical strikes penetrate 10% of enemy elemental resistances. And those, for a tip to you guys, in some recent testing I've been doing, that does not mean elemental resistances pin means nothing. It just means elemental resistance penetration is just situational. Skill tab. Now, how I built this character's gear, it does have a accuracy problem, as you can see, but I'm pretty much done playing with him. But 93% critical strike chance with a 425 multiplier, and main and critical strikes will knock back. Stun duration plus 20%. Also, a DPS of 50,000 with a mana cost of 20 per hit. Wave of Conviction. It has Hex Touch, Hex Bloom, and Punishment. Now, the thing is, flammability penetrates, it nullifies a percentile of enemy resistance, fire resistance, right? But we're skipping that calculation since everything is a critical strike. So pretty much punishment is much better for basic clear and all that. But again, pretty much the only weakness this build has is immune to critical strikes. Essentially what that entails, if you do deal a critical strike on an enemy, any bonuses from critical strikes will not occur. So you're just pretty much hitting it without all the critical strike stuff. Now, your elemental damage can shock is actually a really good thing for Avatar of Fire. And the main reason is the status ailment of shock really, it literally just gives you a increased damage incoming. If memory serves correct, the base is about 30, maybe 40% increased damage. And it's 50% increased damage coming in from critical strikes, if memory serves correct. Now, you can increase this with a very select amount of passives in the tree, and you can pretty much bring that up to 75% on critical strikes. And for the totem, faster attacks, increased area of effect. Wait, no, that's Leaf Slam. And vigilance. If I have a spare slot, I like to have one of those just one of those self-triggering melees. Here we go. Ancestral War Chief. Now, the thing is, Vol Ancestral War Chief is really good for clear, and it's really good at clearing packs you don't want to be standing still in the middle of. So they're pretty useful. That, and if you're within the area of effect, it will increase your attack speed. Oh wait, no. It grants you more melee damage. What if you're in its radius? Let's put you down there. Skills. Let's try that again. Yeah, that increases it by a bit there. Yeah, it increases it by exactly 1/5. Now we also have Eternal Cry, which it does like all the Cry skills, it will aggro all of the enemies to you, but the caveat is monsters affected cannot be damage taken by them within the radius of its effect cannot be reflected. Explosion deal, it covers them in ash, causing 3% increased fire damage taken per up to 20%. So essentially, this is really good for clear, and it increases the burning damage rate. Herald of Ash. Now this Herald of Ash has a secondary effect where it converts all of the overkill damage into fire damage as its flat value and causes an explosion when an enemy dies due to overkill damage. Anger, that just increases pretty much everything we're dealing with fire, and it also increases the area of effect. And precision, that's to help with our accuracy problem. And the kind of weapon I recommend for this build is this guy right here. He was the closest thing to the best you could get for a build like this. I corrupted it, and it gained 5% chance to gain a power charge on critical strike, which is a little bit of a bit of dog shit, considering One of the staff wheels has that as one of the passives you can get. Also, it has a couple of dead modifiers for this build. Added lightning damage. That's only cut that in half, and that's what it does for this build. 3% physical damage is extra chaos damage. Yeah, that's 0. And 35% to fire damage over time multiplier. Also, volcanic slam was one of the new big things they added last week, skill-wise. And I think that's pretty much everything for this build. But as of now, and let's see here. Not that one. This one. I'll leave a link to this in the description. But some of the things changed. They also added a couple of more staff masteries here. Well, wheels. So, by the way, it's actually kind of a bit of a joke in the community here to have Resolute Technique next to one of the strongest melee critical strike wheels in the game. But yeah, this build is still needs a little bit of polishing here and there. For example, most things usually become very dead before they catch on fire. We can also drop that one. I need to find that staff mastery. Ah, there we go. You can drop that one. Also, I'm just going to go ahead and say you probably want as much elemental damage penetration as you can get in the tree. But the masteries for armor, energy, shield got changed. notice how we don't see the good overpowered one that lets armor guard energy shield? Closest thing we got is that 2% chance to defend with 150% per 5% missing energy shield. Which is alright, but it's kind of one of those, kind of felt like, well, that's more of an RNG bit of a gamble. Instead of passive, you always have it. But I felt it was cheap and was going to get nerfed eventually. Finally did. But if you ask me, removing it from the game is not nerfing it. It's taking it out back and making it say hello to a shotgun. Now, you can go ahead and grab some life if you want, but I tried to keep this as sort of small as possible on the points to leave the custom wheel majiggers for use. I end up having to make custom ones for all of my builds anyway. Just how they sell in softcore. Pretty much, in order to sell a valuable one, you need to know what people want. But the only person who knows what another person wants is the one who's most likely going to buy it. So if it's shit, there's probably no one who's going to buy it. So people just accepted sell them all for alks as white, and people can just roll them as much as they want until they find what they want. But they didn't change too much of the staff nodes from what I can see here. And it looks pretty much the same. They added 2 extra ones. Oh, memory serves correct. Inquisitor was one of the ones they did not mess with tree-wise. But if you want, you could probably go hierophant and get yeah. Hierophant might be a little better for this build. Defensive wise, since yeah, that character is a bit squishy than I remembered it being. Increased maximum mana, 10% damage is taken from mana before life. Brands are crap for this. Totems are somewhat good as is. Oh! Hmm. Yeah, that I would say that might actually be good, but pretty much there's two wheels in the tree that already gives us that. Building those. And so pretty much this here, that. Hmm. Let's see what this one gives us. Nearby allies is useless. For this build. Reserved life is not good for this build, so yeah, yeah, it looks like Pyrophant or Inquisitor would actually be pretty good. But I'm not claiming to be a true expert at this game. But this build's pretty fun when you do get it going good. I trust me, it's pretty good. Oh, I forgot to mention what flask we were using. The only unique flask we were using is this one. Huh. Whenever this flask is in effect, life flasks apply to energy shield. Well, that's the end of this. See you guys next time. Also, Digimon World 2, episode 2 of Digimon World Next Order will come out soon.